All right, section 5.5, we're going to continue to talk about the types of chemical reactions. So remember, there are 5 types of chemical reactions: synthesis, decomposition, single replacement, the double replacement, and combustion. And today, we're going to finish talking about the last 3. We talked about synthesis and decomposition. Now let's go ahead and talk about the remaining 3, which start with single replacement. Now, single replacement, what do you think's happening? One element is really replacing another. So that's really what's happening. Single replacement, single means one. One element is taking the spot of another. Well, what does that look like? Well, it's a very interesting dynamic here. We have AB plus C now. We've added 3 things in. AB plus C yields A plus BC. What happens here? What 2 elements we're switching? Really, C and A are switching spots. Well, what happens when C and A switch spots? We form a new compound, and C, which is all on its own, is now bonded with B, and A, which was bonded to B, is now on its own. So you kind of can see they're just switching spots. In a single replacement reaction, they're switching spots. If you wanted an actual single replacement reaction, what would a single replacement reaction look like? Fe plus CuSO4 equals Cu plus FeSO4. A simple single replacement reaction where one element is switching spots with the other. So that's the 3rd type. Now, we can get a double replacement reaction, which, what do you think a double replacement reaction is? A single replacement was one element is switching places. A double replacement is going to be 2 different elements or 2 different compounds are switching places. So that is going to be a double replacement reaction. So now, I wish we had the colors here, but now look what happens. A is going to switch. A and C are switching spots. A and C are switching spots. Now I'm going to do this. Check this out. What's going to happen? A is going to get switched with C. So now instead of being CD, it's going to be AD. And instead of being AB, it's now going to be CB. So you have 2 things switching spots. Now, the easiest way to remember this typically is that in a single replacement reaction, you're going to have 3 elements or compounds. And in a double replacement reaction, you're going to have 4 elements or compounds. So that's kind of the one way that you can use to distinguish the difference. In a single replacement, 3 elements or compounds total in the reactants, and 1 is switching spots. In a double replacement, you have 2 elements, in a double replacement you have 4 elements or compounds, 2 of which are switching spots. Now we're going to work with these because these can be tricky. We're going to do a couple labs on these. I'll do a couple demos with these because these are very common types of chemical reactions. So single replacement, 1 thing is switching. Double replacement, 2 things is switching. Then our last type of chemical reaction is a combustion reaction, and our combustion reaction is completely different from the other 4. And essentially, our combustion reaction is a substance reacts with oxygen, and it usually is making heat and light. And typically, that substance which is reacting with oxygen is called a hydrocarbon. All right, rocket scientists. What 2 elements do you think are in a hydrocarbon? If you guess hydrogen and carbon, you're correct. Now, where do we find hydrogen and carbon? Many fuel sources: gasoline, propane, octane, butane, all right, methane. All of these are hydrocarbons. Anytime they react with oxygen, you're going to produce heat and light. Now, the other thing with combustion reactions, and this is really cool, your 2 products in a combustion reaction will always be carbon dioxide and water. Doesn't matter. In a combustion reaction, your 2 products will always be carbon dioxide and water. So that is kind of one of the easiest ways to know that you have a combustion reaction is you have typically a hydrocarbon, carbon and oxygen, or excuse me, carbon and hydrogen reacting with oxygen, and your two products are always going to be carbon dioxide and water. So you can kind of see how it works there. And those are completing our 5 types of reactions. Today we talked about single replacement, double replacement, and combustions. So we talked about single replacement, double replacement, and combustions. And this is Mr. Clinic, and I'm signing off.